Of dog attacks, a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old permanently disfigured.
Well, now their parents are saying it's time for dog owners to face tougher penalties for their animals' actions. Fox 5's Portia Bruner has our story.
Erin Ingram loves to get all dressed up, and the 8-year-old also has a playful side. But her picture-perfect world was shattered in March.
When they unwrapped it, she looked at me and asked me what was the rest of her arm. So I had to tell her that, the dogs, they worked you over, so the only way we could really save you was to amputate your arm. And she looked at me and she broke down a little, and I was like, well, they're going to make you another one. And once I said that, she was like, all right.
Tommy and Tawana Ingram say resilience is Erin's trademark, despite weeks of physical and emotional pain that linger from a vicious dog attack, an attack she vividly remembers.
And to hear her relive the situation
all over again,
that was very hard.
Screaming in the ICU, just like she was going through it all over again.
It was very hard.
On March 9th, Erin was playing outside her Lithonia home when two dogs that belonged to a neighbor attacked her, dragging her down the street. People nearby tried to intervene, but it wasn't until police arrived, shooting one of the dogs, that Erin was pulled free. She suffered serious injuries to her upper body, especially her arms. The Ingrams shared these recent pictures of Erin, but did not want us to shoot video of her. After several surgeries, her left arm was amputated below the elbow, and she'll have to relearn how to use her right arm.
It's hard because she's very independent, and now she's dependent on her parents, on her nurses, on her therapists, on her doctors.
12-year-old Alexa Zachary has come a long way since she was attacked last December by a dog at a friend's home in Lithonia.
I tried to run the house and the dog had tripped me up and that's how I got my face.
Her wounds were raw and swollen when she was released from the hospital a week later.
It's horrible and knowing I would never wish for anyone else to go through that.
Today, Alexis wishes her scars would just disappear. And her mother, Tamika, wishes the dog's owner would have faced more than a fine of $250.
Pay the person who was injured, pay the medical bills, he needs to pay.
Tawan Vaughn owned the two dogs that attacked Erin. DeKalb Solicitor General is still investigating the case, trying to determine if Vaughn's dogs were involved in previous attacks in the neighborhood. If that's the case, Vaughn could face tougher charges under the state's dangerous dog statute. For now, Vaughn is charged with reckless conduct, a misdemeanor which carries a maximum sentence of 1 year in jail.
So it's like the dog gets more rights than you. So now, if I harm the dog, they're going to charge me with a felony. But if the dog harms a human, there's no one's there saying, what's the stiffer penalty?
Turns out some lawmakers here in Georgia agree. They say current law just doesn't go far enough when it comes to holding dog owners accountable for vicious dog attacks. And that one state representative says he's trying to change that.
We need to do something about these dangerous dogs.
Representative Gene Maddox is a retired veterinarian from South Georgia who's trying to strengthen the state's dangerous dog law. His bill never made it out of committee this year, but he plans to try again next year.
Georgia's right now is exempt on the first time. You have no penalties the first time.
So now you're trying to make it tough for first run.
That the first time they attacks, the owner's responsible from the first time on, and then increase the penalties for the damage that they do. And then, of course, if you violate this, then it becomes a misdemeanor and can become a felony.
You believe that the woman who owns the dogs that attacked Erin should go to jail for years?
Absolutely.
Kevin Adamson is the attorney for the Ingram family. He says he and the Ingrams will lobby lawmakers during the next session to redefine dangerous dogs and put more restrictions on their owners. They hope it will prevent an attack like the one that has changed Erin's life forever.
She was a soccer player and a basketball player. She loves sports. She is a cute little girl that is going to have a lot to deal with for the rest of her life.
If you don't restrain your dog the way it's supposed to be restrained, you need to be held accountable for their actions. Whatever they do, you need to be held accountable for it.
Portia Bruner, Fox 5 News.
The legislation Representative Maddox is pushing will require the owners of dogs qualified as vicious or dangerous to pay for victims' medical expenses. The measure would also require those dog owners to carry insurance policies to help pay for such expenses, and that is something that the Ingram and Zachary family say they support.